Hello, I'm Svitek, 360 Creative Coach, and I'm a huge fan of movies, right? I love to watch them, and whenever possible, I love to make them, right? And so I thought it'd be fun to give you my top 10 movies of 2021. Now, these are based off of the movies that I have seen, right? So there will be movies that aren't included just for the simple fact that I haven't yet seen them. Unlike critics who get all these screeners and things like that, if they're not readily available to me in a theater or something like that, or online, I haven't seen it. For example, like Licorice Pizza just came out in theaters on a wider scale. Haven't seen that yet, right? So that won't be included just on that fact alone. So there you go, right? Still, I think, even without having seen all the movies, I have seen a lot of movies and, want to highlight them for you and kind of give you some backstory as to why I like them and maybe inspire you to go check them out if you haven't already, right? Or reignite your love for them to revisit them, right? So, first off, Luca. This came out on Disney Plus, and it's about let's call it like a mermaid, right? It's about this merman, merboy, who learns that if he gets outside the water, his like fins and stuff like that go away, and so he wants to explore the world. And he makes this best friend who's another merboy, and they're in this like town in Italy, and they befriend this Italian girl, and become friends and so forth. That's oversimplification of it, but very, very sweet movie. In such a way that like Disney/Pixar make it really pulls at your heartstrings, and I think really good addition to that animated film genre. So Luca, I really enjoy. Together. Not to be confused with Together, which is a movie that also came out this year, right? So Together, specifically, stars James Franco and Sharon Horgan, right? And they play this couple in quarantine, specifically in England. And there's not many scenes in it, and the scenes that are in it basically have no cuts. So it's basically just two actors really performing, almost like a stage play, except it's not, because it's filmic, right? And so whatever camera movement there is, or whatever shot changes there are, it's dictated by camera movement. And so it's just incredible. It's an incredible work of just technical art, but then also the story itself, in so doing it this way and telling it this way, just manages to pierce through and be very poignant. And in spite of the fact that it is about them dealing with quarantine and pandemic and so forth, it's got a lot of levity in it. And one of the things about it is that both of the characters are speaking directly to you. So they're breaking the fourth wall in many ways. And it's as weird as it is to say, it's just a blast, right? I think you will enjoy it. Now, you'd be forgiven. Again, it's about the pandemic, it's about quarantine. So if you're not quite ready to visit that, I understand. But I think it is really worthwhile. I think it's an incredible movie. The French Dispatch. That's my next one, right? So Luca at number 10, Together at number 9, and at number 8, French Dispatch. This is the Wes Anderson movie, and it's basically an anthology of little like short films that are like articles, quote unquote, in this like fictional French Dispatch publication. And I loved it, right? I think it's quintessential Wes Anderson. He uses all the actors that he loves to work with, plus then some. It's got his typical set designs, his compositions. And the fact that it's an anthology and leads to something, the sum of its parts add up to something greater, is just incredible, right? So I really, really loved it tremendously. So worth checking out. Number 7, the Matrix. Number 7. The Matrix Resurrections. I'm a huge fan of the Matrix trilogy, not just the first one, because some people, make that distinction. Like, I liked the first one, but didn't like 2 and 3 or whatever, right? I love the trilogy overall, and was really looking forward to this one. And for me, it lived up. I thought, yes, some things could have been done a little bit better, including like just some of the action scenes weren't as iconic as some of the stuff in the original trilogy, but all the same, I think it took a huge swing, and I loved it. Last Night in Soho. This is a movie about a girl that is essentially able to revisit the past through this like dream, right? And it's mesmerizing, right? It's from Edgar Wright, right? So it's bleeding with style and substance. Some of the shots, like what they managed to create in these like hypnotic sequences, is I'm still like fascinated by and really trying to study and learn. So it's both like a thriller and a mystery. And it keeps you on the edge of your seat. Anna Taylor-Joy, as always, is a joy to watch. And yes, that is a pun. There's just a lot there, right? And how it ends, I think, is also, it's both expected and unexpected at the same time. And that's what I appreciate about it. So if you love Edgar Wright, if you love Baby Driver, I think this is really worth checking out. If you love a good thriller, it's worth checking out. So that is Last Night in Soho. Next up for me is WeWork. This is a documentary. It came out on Hulu, and it chronicles the rise and fall of WeWork. And I thought really well made, really, really eye-opening. And yeah, even if you obviously kind of know, just even by the title, that WeWork kind of didn't necessarily make it. I mean, it's still out there, but like it's not in the form that it used to be, right? But how it gets, seeing like the inner workings of all the things that led up to that point, that's the fascinating part. And I'm amazed by the footage that they have, the interviews that they have, really top-notch filmmaking. This next one, To All the Boys, Always and Forever. This is the last movie. This is the third movie in To All the Boys trilogy. It's on Netflix. It's based off of a series of books. And it's essentially like a coming-of-age story. It's a rom-com. And I think it wraps up the trilogy nicely. I am in love with these movies. I think as far as like young adult stories go, this one just nails it. Everyone's performances are beautiful. The style is wonderful. I think the people I talk to that have seen these movies get it and they praise it. The people that haven't, they kind of scratch their heads of like, wait, why would you recommend? Like, really? it just, in some sense, like kind of just sounds like another Netflix movie or something. And not in the sense of like a Roma, which was a Netflix movie, but like just standard stuff that you would put out as quote unquote content. But no, there's so much heart in this, and I love the central message of all three of them, and the fact that it culminated with this final one. I can't say enough good things about it. I mean, in that sense, it would require, I would say, watch the other movies, before watching this one. But this one specifically came out in 2021, and I appreciate it and what it did. So that's To All the Boys, Always and Forever. Next one, Roadrunner. So this is the Anthony Bourdain documentary. Slightly controversial because they used a deep fake to for part of a line, create Anthony Bourdain's voice, which I didn't think they needed to. And for some reason, that's what overshadowed it. But as a documentary overall, I think it's an incredible documentary. I'm not someone that knew. I knew about Anthony Bourdain, but I haven't really seen all of his shows. I'm not overly familiar. And so with that fresh perspective, this really added a lot for me, especially because not just the movie, Anthony's life, the cooking was a vehicle for something larger, and an outlook on life and things of that nature. And this movie, I think, really captured that, and it allowed me to see Anthony Bourdain, the good sides, the bad sides, the troubled sides, and it offered me a lot to think about, right? So I really appreciate that movie. It's called Roadrunner. I highly encourage you to check it out, regardless of whether or not you love or know Anthony Bourdain. Really, really solid documentary. The next one is Blue Bayou. This is a movie by Justin Chong and starring Alicia Vikander. And it's about this Korean adoptee who, because of improper filing by his adopted parents, could be getting deported, even though he has a family here and has basically lived here his whole life. It's a gut-wrenching movie in many ways. It's keeps you emotionally invested. It's based on real events that are happening in terms of people getting deported within the U.S. But it does so in a very human story, right? That's what makes it gut-wrenching. It takes that, what's happening, and that adds the human layer, which is always there, but we in many ways dehumanize those stories of just facts and figures. And this, that's what good storytelling is that it grabs you onto a character and puts you in their shoes, and this movie does that beautifully. So I truly, truly appreciate it. That's my number 2 pick of 2021. And now my number 1 is Encanto. What a beautiful movie this is. This is like a joyful Gabriel Garcia Marquez movie, right? Gabriel Garcia Marquez being a writer from Colombia who did a lot of magic realism. One of his famous books was 100 Years of Solitude. In many ways, I can see the inspirations of that novel within this. It's a story about this family in Colombia who was gifted through magic and luck and so forth, and that is threatened to go away, right? And how can they save that? It's just so beautiful, right? From start to finish, just incredibly well made. I absolutely love it. And one of the things that I adore about it is that there's no true villain, right? Life is hard enough. And that's what I appreciate, that it manages to find the nuances of life and have life be the obstacle for these people. So absolutely beautiful. That is my number one pick for 2021. Now, that's my list, right? Your list could be very different, but I just wanted to give you some movies that, perhaps you might not be thinking about. I also, as such, I did want to kind of highlight honorable mentions, stuff that was going through my mind as when I made my initial list of stuff that I enjoyed, right? So, Shang-Chi, Bo Burnham's Inside, Free Guy, The Harder They Fall, which is a Netflix Western, incredible. Together, Cruella, Green Knight, The Mitchells vs. the Machines, really, really fun animated movie. Raya and the Last Dragon, great movie as well. Nobody, that's a great action movie and comes in at about 90 minutes, so beautiful. Last Duel, one of two Ridley Scott movies that came out recently. I thought it underwhelmed at the box office, but as far as a movie, I think it's a really good one. If you're into Austin Powers, I think you'll enjoy Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar. Just really irreverent, great comedy. King Richard is about Venus and Serena Williams' dad, played by Will Smith. I thought a heartwarming story there. White Tiger, based off of the book, I thought that was good. Stillwater, starring Matt Damon, I thought that was a powerful movie. Plan B, Kid 90, which is a documentary on Hulu. A Glitch in the Matrix, this is a documentary about people being obsessed with the Matrix, but also AI and virtual realities and what is the nature of our world. So I thought that was a fascinating documentary, especially with its technique and so forth. The Rescue, another documentary, and Oslo. This is based on true events about negotiations that took place in Oslo, right, in secrecy. Really, really well done. Historical fiction. So those are my top 10 movies, as well as movies that I think are worth checking out from 2021. Of course, and also Spider-Man Far From Home. That is a recent addition to the honorable mention list. So definitely worth checking out. Anyway, yeah, like I said, those are my movies, but let me know your thoughts and opinions. I think we can disagree civilly, and we can have, I explained why the movies I chose. If your list differs, that's okay. Just tell me why, instead of being like, you're so, why would you pick that movie? This movie is blah, 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 right? Our list can be different, and that's okay. Anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing and reviewing movies in 2022. And to that point, let me know what movies you are looking forward to in 2022. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I'll see you next time.